Good afternoon, everybody. It's Monday, December 8th. This is OK Preps and Survivals podcast edition. And I've been doing these podcast things a little bit lately because it's easier than getting the camera set up and all that stuff. And I'm not really reviewing anything or trying to show anything. So it's just a lot easier to be audio only. And it saves the upload time and stuff like that. So I'm going to get around to doing the videos a little bit later. But for now, it's just more of a conversational type of video, I guess you could say. And the podcast thing is just a little bit easier. So I've been doing that a lot lately. So I'll get some. I'll start doing some review videos and stuff again. I just got some new stuff in, and I'm gonna go over it. But anyways, that's besides the point. The whole reason I'm making this video today, or this podcast today, is well, my main theme for this podcast is what happens now? That's the question that I've been thinking about, question I've been asking a lot of my friends. And so what happens now? Now we've had the Ferguson situation going on. Now we have the Eric Garner situation going on. And in both of those situations, in case you just don't know, for whatever reason, all you got to do is turn your TV on and you'll know, or look at your Facebook feed, you'll know. But in case you don't know, Ferguson, Mike Brown was shot, killed, and it seems the general population thinks that shouldn't have happened. To each his own. I'm not going to get into my opinions on the matter, and it doesn't matter what I think. The grand jury's already decided. So, and now we got the Eric Garner situation, where the grand jury, has also decided to not indict the officer that was in question. So we got two men that were killed by law enforcement and two officers that were not indicted, and the country is in an uproar about it. I haven't looked at statistics, and I don't know if they've done any kind of polls or anything to see what the general population of the whole country thinks. And I'm actually gonna see if I can dig one of those up here within the next 5 minutes or so to see if I can find some kind of number on what the country thinks about both of these situations. But until then, I came across this article. But hang on, I'm getting ahead of myself. Let me get back to the question. So what happens now? You know, we have these two situations that have happened. It's caused nationwide outcry and nationwide protesting, which is mostly, for the most part, has stayed peaceful. Ferguson got a little hairy after the decision to not indict Darren Wilson. It did get hairy. Buildings got burned down. Community was torn, and it got really unnerving for that, especially that first 24 hours after the decision not to indict. And then it ended up going national. There were protesters going on. There was protests going on nationwide, from New York to San Diego, and everywhere in between. It seemed like. At one point, I believe there was protests going on in 37 separate states, but don't quote me on that. I remember reading that somewhere or hearing that. So I want to say 37 different states protests were going on due to the Ferguson situation. But anyways, so what happens now? Is every time somebody's shot and killed or injured by the police or taken into custody, is this going to cause a national outcry for justice? That's what I'm wondering. And if it comes to that, that means our law enforcement are going to be hindered in their jobs and in their quest to keep our communities and our states and our cities safe. So, with that all being said, I'm going to get to this. I came across this article 2 to 3 days ago, I believe. I'm not really sure when I seen it, but it really made my eyes open. So basically, what had happened was in Milwaukee, this man was chasing two cops with a butcher knife and threatened to kill them, and they chose not to shoot him. And this is their quote: because of the recent widespread backlash against officers using excessive and deadly force on citizens. End of the quote. Now, I have one problem with the way that the police officers worded that statement. They said the recent widespread backlash against officers using excessive and deadly force on citizens. The way I look at it is if the force is necessary, if the use of force is necessary, everybody, and I don't know if everybody knows, there's a use of force continuum that police officers abide by. And everything that they carry is part of that use of force continuum. Their OC spray, their batons, their tasers, their guns. Everything is part of a use of force continuum. They go from step to step, and it depends on the severity of the situation and the nature of the interaction they're having with the bad guy. So they said using excessive and deadly force on citizens. Now, if the use of force continuum is at that point where they need to use their weapons to bring somebody down, that is not excessive. That is what is necessary to carry out their jobs. That's what's necessary to protect the community. It's what's necessary to protect themselves and others. It's not excessive. So that's the one problem I have with the statement they made, and that kind of put them in a corner, if you ask me. That has kind of backed law enforcement agencies into a corner by saying that deadly force is excessive. Some cases of deadly force may be excessive, but not all cases of deadly force are excessive. That's the only gripe I have about what these law enforcement officers said about this whole deal. But anyways, we'll move on from that. So here's basically what happened. One of the officers told the investigators that this was the most frightening experience she had had as an officer. She also admitted that she was beginning to wear out from the running. These officers were running from this guy to get away from him because they didn't want to shoot him because they thought it was going to start some, crazy backlash. And the officers eventually arrested him after he dropped his weapon. Now, I have to wonder, because they didn't shoot this guy, and that's all fine and good. A life was saved, whatever. These cops were able to apprehend this guy without shooting him. That's fine. But the officer said she was getting tired from running. What would have happened if he would have caught her? And he would have been, obviously he had intent. His intent was he was going to kill the officer. He told them that. He was chasing them with a butcher knife and threatening to kill them. In any court of law, if somebody chases a private citizen around their front yard with a butcher knife, saying they're going to kill them, and that private citizen pulls out his legal firearm and shoots the offender in his front yard that's threatening to kill him, there's no jury in this nation that I could imagine that would convict the law-abiding citizen of murder, manslaughter, whatever, because this guy had said, "I'm going to kill you," and he's chasing him with a butcher knife. So the intent was there. The guy was going to kill the cop. So if the guy would have gotten to the female cop who was getting tired from running, would the cops have then shot him? Would they have shot him while he was in the act of killing? He's going to stab the cop, so now they're going to shoot him. Is that what it's going to have to come to now? Are these guys, are our law enforcement officers and all of our guys, are these guys going to have to wait until somebody shoots at them? Are these guys going to have to wait until they're shot, till somebody tries to stab him, till whatever, till they're getting beat? These guys were coming up trying to beat on cops. Are they going to have to wait till something like that happens before they can use the training that they've been given? It's ridiculous. I don't know. Cops, they fall under the same laws that we do. They're covered by the same laws we're covered by. So when someone is visually trying, and you know that the intent is there, he said, "I'm going to kill you." I can only imagine that when he got a hold of one of them, that's what he was intending to do, was kill them. So if he would have got a hold of one of them, one can only imagine from what he said that he's going to kill them. They have a right to defend themselves just like everybody else does in this country. But it seems like there's some simple-minded people, and I say that because it's like facts are getting thrown out the window. And people are refusing to look at evidence, physical evidence, forensic evidence, all that stuff. People are refusing to look at it because they want to create a nationwide uproar, because they want to pass their agenda off on everybody else. That's the way I'm looking at things. And that's simple-minded to me. That's not smart. You're not making this country a better place by forcing our law enforcement officers to run from people instead of taking care of business. You're not making this place any better. You're not making this country any better. You're not making your communities any better. You're not making your states any better. It's just ridiculous. So, what's going to end up happening is our law enforcement is going to end up scared to do their job, and it's going to cause more people to die. That's ultimately what's going to happen. They're going to have to wait till somebody shoots at them. That's going to be like war, Rules of engagement. The most prominent rule of engagement that everybody knows is that, our military can't fire at someone unless they're fired upon. So when a law enforcement officer is doing a routine traffic stop, they get up to their window and the guy pulls a gun on him. Is he going to have to wait until the guy shoots him? Who knows if he's going to shoot him in the head, shoot him in the vest? Is he still going to be alive to be able to defend himself? Probably not. And that's what it's coming to. And that's scary to me. Is the criminal element going to become so abundant because our police are refusing to use the training that they've been given and use their rights as people to defend themselves? I don't know. So what happens now? It all goes back to that. This is only one story that we've heard since all this has been coming out. Who knows, of all the law enforcement agencies we have in this country, who knows how many times something like this has happened since these two incidents, since the Mike Brown and Eric Garner incidents. It's just something to think about. And I wanted to get on here and I wanted to do just a short kind of discussion about it. I want to know you guys' thoughts too. I'm just putting this out there because I want to get feedback. Now, I'm not looking for negative feedback, but I want other opinions on this matter too. Because this is serious, and people aren't taking these kind of things as serious as they should be taken. When our police refuse to do their job because they're scared of what's going to happen, people are going to die. And good law enforcement officers are going to lose their lives over things like this. People that do things for the community. These guys are, like I said, there's a few bad apples that will ruin the whole batch. And America has our fair share of poor law enforcement officers. It's sad to say, but every place has them. Every law enforcement agency has a corrupt cop. There's nothing, it's part of it. Every law enforcement agency in the world has a corrupt cop. Or a cop that just doesn't get along with people, or a cop who is way too big behind his badge. That happens. There's nothing that we can do about it. But they seem to be shadowing the good cops, the good police, the people who really want to make a difference in our communities, the people who really will strive to do whatever they can to help you, whatever they can to keep you safe. The bad cops are way overshadowing the good cops. And there will be good police that will die from situations like this because they can't defend themselves. And that's not okay. And these people that are protesting and blah, 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 and F the police and you guys, blah, that's ridiculous. You know? There's people that are protesting that the first thing they will do is call the police when something happens. Somebody's breaking into their house, who are they going to call? The police. I mean, I don't know. It's just something to think about. It's definitely something to think about. You know, it's not about white on black or black on white or black on black or white on white or anything like that. It's not about race. It's not about color. It's about people defending themselves and about people being able to live their quality of life that they choose to. I'm getting to the point now where how many more years is it going to be before we just have a military police, you know, martial law type stuff? How much longer is it going to be till then when, you know, government finally says, you know what? Forget the local law enforcement agencies, forget the state agencies. We're moving the National Guard in. We're going to militarize this bitch. For lack of a better term, you know? It's something that very well could happen if things like this keep going on. If more things like Ferguson happen, I could see that becoming a very prominent thing. But that's my opinion. And I want to know what you guys think. So, let me know. Because this is a big deal. And I want to know what everybody thinks about it. So, that's all I got for today. It's just something to think about. What happens now? This has been OK Preps and Survival with a podcast. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Don't forget to comment. I want to know what you guys think. I'll talk to you guys later. Have a good one.